There is a religion whose members, including Tom Cruise and John Travolta, believe they have alien ghosts attached to their souls, and that those ghosts are the cause of their anxiety, their depression, and even their physical pain. That religion is Scientology. But the really interesting part? This isn't what most Scientologists learn when they first join. In fact, Scientology is structured like a video game. You unlock new beliefs as you pay more money. Today, I'm going to take you through every level, from the basic teachings to the secret upper-level doctrines that members are sworn never to reveal. By the end of this video, you'll finally understand what Scientology is really about and why Hollywood's biggest stars have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to join. Part 1. The Foundation. Who was L. Ron Hubbard? To understand Scientology, you have to start with its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. Hubbard was a prolific science fiction writer who had published countless stories about space travel, alien civilizations, and futuristic adventures. In 1950, he published a book that would change everything: Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health. Hubbard's stated goal was to analyze humankind's mental aberrations and offer a means for overcoming them. The book became a massive success. By 1954, Hubbard had turned his ideas into an organization and officially founded the Church of Scientology. But here's the key distinction. Dianetics was presented as a science, a method for healing the mind. Scientology was presented as a religion, a complete spiritual philosophy. Scientology is defined as the study and handling of the spirit in relationship to itself, others, and all of life. Followers believe that we are spiritual beings, that our existence spans more than one life, and that we are endowed with abilities beyond our normal experiences. The core beliefs of Scientology are centered on several key ideas: the spiritual nature of humanity, the rehabilitation of the human spirit, the methodology for achieving that rehabilitation, and the inherent ability of people to change and improve their conditions. Now let's break down what those beliefs actually are. Part 2. The Thetan. What you really are. At the heart of Scientology is a single, radical idea. You are not a human who has a soul. You are a soul who has a body. Scientologists call this immortal spiritual being a Thetan. The term comes from the Greek letter theta, which Scientologists use to represent the source of life or life itself. A Thetan is the true self, the being that inhabits a body and uses a mind, but is identical with neither. According to Scientology, Thetans are basically good and are trying to survive. They have lived through countless past lives, on Earth, on other planets, across trillions of years. Each lifetime is just another chapter in the Thetans' infinite existence. Scientologists believe in reincarnation, that humans are continuously born and die, only to be born again in a repeating cycle. But unlike some Eastern traditions that see reincarnation as a cycle to escape, Scientology sees it as a series of lives to remember and learn from. The goal of Scientology is to help its members become aware that they are Thetans and to restore their spiritual abilities. But here's the problem. Most Thetans have forgotten who they really are. They've become trapped, not just in bodies but in something called the reactive mind. Part 3. The reactive mind and Engrams. The problem. According to Hubbard, the human mind has two parts. The first is the analytical mind, the part that thinks logically, solves problems, and makes rational decisions. The second is the reactive mind, a hidden portion of the mind that operates on a stimulus-response basis. This is the part of the mind that stores exact impressions, meanings, and measurable charges from past traumatic events. These stored recordings are called engrams. An engram is a complete recording of a moment of pain and unconsciousness. It could be from a car accident, a surgery, a physical injury, any moment when the person was not fully conscious. The reactive mind records everything: the pain, the sounds, the words spoken, the emotions present. These engrams don't just sit there harmlessly. They can be re-stimulated, triggered by current situations that match in some way the contents of the original engram. When this happens, the person experiences irrational emotional responses, psychosomatic illnesses, nightmares, unreasonable fears, upsets, and insecurities. Scientologists believe that these engrams accumulate not just in this lifetime, but across all past lives. The more engrams you have, the more your reactive mind controls you, and the less you are able to function as your true self. The Thetan. The solution? Get rid of them. Part 4. Auditing and the E-meter. The solution. To remove engrams, Scientologists use a process called auditing. Auditing is a one-on-one session between a trained auditor and a person seeking help, called a pre-clear, meaning someone who has not yet reached the state of clear. During auditing, the auditor asks the pre-clear a series of questions designed to locate and address engrams. The goal is to run the engram, to bring it to the surface of the conscious mind so it can be discharged and cleared. But auditing isn't just talking. It involves a device called the E-meter. The E-meter, short for electropsychometer, is a device that measures changes in electrical resistance through the body. Scientologists believe that as you recall traumatic experiences, the E-meter detects changes in emotional states that allow stored engrams to be identified. Here's how it works. You hold two metal cans connected to the device while the auditor asks questions. The E-meter supposedly reads the carrier wave of the Thetan, the spiritual being, and helps the auditor locate areas of upset. Critics describe the E-meter as a crude, galvanic skin response meter. Scientologists, however, believe it measures spiritual energy and guides sessions to a satisfactory conclusion. The key point is this. Auditing is not therapy. It's a spiritual process designed to free the Thetan from the influence of the reactive mind. And the ultimate goal of auditing is to reach a state called clear. Part 5. The state of clear, the first major milestone. A clear is defined by the Church of Scientology as a person who no longer has a reactive mind. In other words, a clear has been completely freed from the influence of engrams. According to Hubbard, a clear is a being who no longer has his own reactive mind and therefore suffers none of the ill effects the reactive mind can cause. The clear has no engrams which, when re-stimulated, throw out the correctness of his computations by entering hidden and false data. A clear is said to be at cause over, meaning in control of, their mental energy and thoughts. They can think clearly even when faced with situations that previously caused them difficulty. Their native individuality and creativity are strengthened. This is the first major milestone on the Scientology path. But it's not the end. It's just the beginning. Part 6. The bridge to total freedom. The path. To progress through Scientology, members follow a structured roadmap called the bridge to total freedom. The bridge is a massive, color-coded chart displayed on the wall of every Scientology organization. It lists every course, every auditing action, and every step a person must take to advance spiritually. The bridge has two tracks: training, learning to audit others, and processing, being audited yourself. After reaching the state of clear, Scientologists can continue to the upper levels, the operating Thetan, OT levels. An operating Thetan is described as a state of complete spiritual freedom in which one is a willing and knowing cause over life, thought, matter, energy, space, and time. Scientologists are taught they will have godlike control over matter, energy, space, and time, known in Scientology jargon as MEST. The church offers multiple OT levels, each costing thousands of dollars. The bridge lists 15 OT levels above the state of clear. But here's the catch. The OT levels are confidential. They are not revealed to anyone beforehand. Members only learn what's in each level when they reach it and pay for it. And this is where things get truly strange. Part 7. The Secret Teachings. Xenu and Body Thetans. This is the part that most people have heard about but don't fully understand. At OT3, Operating Thetan Level 3, Scientologists learn the story of Xenu. According to the confidential OT3 materials, Xenu was an extraterrestrial ruler of a galactic confederacy who, tens of millions of years ago, transported billions of beings to Earth, which was then called Tegiak, placed them around volcanoes, and killed them with hydrogen bombs. The disembodied spirits of the victims, called Thetans, scattered and were captured, brainwashed, and forced to attach themselves to surviving bodies. These are called body Thetans, confused, disembodied souls from other planets who have attached themselves to us. Scientologists believe that these body Thetans are still attached to humans today, including you. They contribute to spiritual and psychological difficulties in the present day. The purpose of the OT levels is to identify and release these body Thetans through specialized procedures. The Church of Scientology regards the OT3 material as confidential and instructs members not to reveal or discuss it with those who have not reached the appropriate level. Church officials have often declined to address the Xenu topic in public, maintaining that the material can only be properly understood in the context of the full Scientology training path. Despite these restrictions, the Xenu narrative has become widely known through court cases, leaks of internal documents, and reporting by journalists and former members. But here's what most people don't realize. The Xenu story is not the core teaching of Scientology. It's an advanced, upper-level teaching that only members encounter after years of progression. Most Scientologists never reach OT3. Part 8. The Dynamics. Scientology's View of Survival. Beyond the Thetan, the Engrams, and the bridge, there's another important concept in Scientology: the dynamics. Hubbard defined survival as a series of 8 areas of survival urge, which he called the 8 dynamics. Dynamic 1, the individual. Dynamic 2, the family, children, and sex. Dynamic 3, groups. Dynamic 4, mankind. Dynamic 5, the animal kingdom. Dynamic 6, the physical universe. Dynamic 7, the spiritual being and the spiritual world. Dynamic 8, infinite reality. These areas are used to understand one's life and to improve one's solutions to life by bettering one's understanding of the different areas of life. Because Scientology teaches that furthering existence is the preferred spiritual path, a common phrase used within the organization is, "the greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics." The idea implies a balance among all areas of life. Scientology holds that not only can people change, improving themselves and their conditions, but they can be helped. This is the framework within which Scientologists understand their place in the universe and their responsibilities to themselves, their families, their communities, and all of existence. Part 9. Conclusion. Putting it all together. So, after all of this, what do Scientologists actually believe? At the most basic level, they believe that you are an immortal spiritual being, a Thetan, who has lived countless past lives and is capable of achieving extraordinary spiritual power. They believe that your problems are caused by Engrams, traumatic memories stored in your reactive mind, and by body Thetans, the disembodied spirits of beings from other planets. They believe that auditing, using the E-meter and a trained auditor, can help you identify and remove these obstacles. And they believe that the bridge to total freedom, a structured progression of courses and auditing, is the path to becoming an operating Thetan, a being with complete control over life, matter, energy, space, and time. The ultimate goal is spiritual freedom, the rehabilitation of the human spirit, and the restoration of the Thetan's true nature. Supporters describe Scientology as a genuine religion that helps people achieve spiritual freedom and overcome the trauma of past lives. Critics argue it functions as a high-control organization centered on secrecy, financial pressure, and systematic control over its members. So, what surprised you most about Scientology's beliefs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to know how these beliefs led to massive government infiltrations, celebrity scandals, and internet speedruns, check out my deep dive into the Scientology empire next. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe, because we've got a lot more mysteries to unpack. See you in the next one.